Royal Financial Investment Group. My name is Prince Dykes. Today's topic, we want to discuss the $5 minimum wage raise. But before I jump to the topic, as always, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button, comment button, share button, all of the good stuff. Thumbs up, thumbs down, and definitely leave your comments below, and let's have an open discussion, right? So I don't have a lot of time, and I definitely know you guys don't have a lot of time, so let's jump straight into the video. So a $5 minimum wage will trigger inflation. So what people say, well, first of all, I don't have no problem with the $5 minimum wage. You know, it's all up to the company what they want to pay. If they want to pay that, that's great for the workers. They make more money. But let's think about it this way. So let's say you were already making $8. So you're making $8 an hour. And then, you know, you may have your manager who's making $10 an hour. Then you may have your store manager who's making $12 an hour. Just hypothetical numbers, right? So they come out and say, hey, minimum wage is raised up to $15. Great deal, right? So the person who was making $8 an hour, now their pay is going to be $15 an hour. So what about the person who was getting $10? Or what about the person who was earning $12? Now, if you got the bottom line people who are getting $15, I would equate that to the managers are probably going to get $17, and the store manager probably going to get, what, $20? So that itself, for a company, if you're not making more money, that has increased your payroll. Somebody has to pay that. So let's say if you own a company, and now they're saying, hey, you have to pay your employees all this money, you're going to have to put out a lot of money. So now, what is a company probably going to do? Is a company just probably going to lose some of its profits in order to pay their employees more? Or do you think they're going to raise the price of their products? What do you think? Know how greedy a lot of people are, and companies are trying to survive. They're probably going to raise, to cover the cost of the pay raise, they're probably going to raise the cost of their product. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's what they should do or what they shouldn't do. This is just my opinion, right? They're probably going to raise the cost of their products, which means things are going to get more expensive. And when wages go up and things become more expensive, what do we call that? Inflation. Inflation is measured by something we call CPI, which is the Consumer Price Index. CPI, Consumer Price Index. It measures, you know, inflation, how much things go up, how much, you know, wages go up in accordance with the price of goods. Because what happens with inflation is when people make more money, what do? Do they save more? Do they pay more bills? No. Most of the time when people make more money, they spend more money. So that means that the demand has grown. All remember from economics, supply and demand, that's how we get the equilibrium, the price. So for prime example, like, let's go back to it. So that means that when these people make more money, or when people make more money, their demand has increased. And by their demand increasing, that means they're going to buy more stuff most of the time. And when the supply is higher than the demand, correction, I said that backwards. When the demand is higher than the supply, what happens? Price go up, right? So now let's say a loaf of bread costs $1. Now a loaf of bread may cost $2, $3. Now rent may go up because people know you make more money, right? So if the whole purpose, I'm guessing, I'm not 100% sure, I'm not a lawmaker, but I'm guessing the whole reason why you're going to give somebody a raise or you're going to increase minimum wages is so that people can live. I agree. It's pretty tough or impossible to live off of $7 an hour or $6 an hour, I would think, right? But people make it happen. So let's say they said people come together, they say, hey, you know what? Let's give a pay raise. You know, these people deserve a pay raise. Let's give everybody a minimum wage raise. But guess what? That's going to be kind of offset because I predict that most companies are going to raise the price of their goods. So it's going to be more expensive to live. So we make more money, the price of everything goes up. So how does that kind of work? Now, let's say, so that's going to kind of tie in with inflation. So let's say you're an investor. What does that mean for you if you own stock? Now, if you own stock and people make more money, which means they're spending more money, and when people spend more money, they're buying more products. And the more products that you sell as a company increases your what? Profits, right? So when your profits increase, your revenue increase. That means your earning reports are better. So that means that most of the time your stock values are going to go up. great thing, right? If you already own a stock. But if you're looking to purchase a stock, it may not be a great time when you have inflation going on, because that usually leads to stocks being overvalued and overfluffed and overpriced because of inflation. You may say, man, this company is growing. Look at the revenue, it's growing, it's growing. Is it really growing, or is it growing because of inflation? Right? So now if you already own a stock, that could be great because you can ride that inflation wave. But if you don't own a stock, then your inflation, if you don't own a stock and you're thinking about buying a particular stock, then it may be a bad thing, because a company, you have to really look at your financial reports to see if a company is actually growing due to its products or due to its demand. You have to, because, you know, like I said, when people make more money, the demand for products increase. So you just have to be something you have to evaluate. May not be a good time to purchase. So you say, okay, if I own a stock, that could be a good thing for stock owners. If I don't own a stock, I may want to be a little weary if I'm thinking about buying a stock. Now, also, have you ever heard of a thing called TIPS? TIPS? Treasury Inflation Protection Securities? TIPS, T-I-P-S. I have a video on that. A video called How to Protect Yourself Against Inflation. These are tips. What they do is they match inflation. In the past, they haven't been that great because inflation, we haven't had any inflation in a while, so the attractiveness of inflation of TIPS was pretty low. The demand for them was pretty low because we haven't had any inflation. Inflation is not going anywhere. What a TIP does is that it matches inflation and it keeps up with inflation. But if inflation is doing this and it's steady, then why would you want to buy it? Inflation was doing this, but the market was doing this. So guess what you thought everybody invested? The inflation or with the market? Everybody went with the market. But now I think that with these minimum wage raises, it's going to create demand. When you create demand, people are going to buy more products. And when you create demand, people buy more products, the price of things are going to go up, which is going to trigger inflation, which is going to make that flat line starts to take up, which is going to make TIPS probably are going to be more valuable in the future. But that's the way you can invest with inflation. So that's my opinion. I'm not recommending, yo, just go out and dump stock. No, I'm just giving you guys something to think about, right? I just think it was a big topic and people was talking about it. Just want to share my opinion. So there it is. It's the end of my quick video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, all the other good stuff. Leave me your comments below if you got any questions or anything like that. Want to have a discussion? I want to hear your opinion too. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Until the next video, be safe.